All right, this is your comprehensive slope review for the quiz tomorrow. Everything you need to know, and if you have any questions on the homework, which is a preview of what the quiz is going to look like. But before we jump into that, let's just talk about slope and lines in general. The very first formula you're going to need to know is the slope formula. So this formula is going to be used when you know two of the coordinates of the line. And it's a very simple formula. It's just m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you take the y value of one point and subtract the y value of the other point. Then you take the x value of that first point again, and then subtract the x value of the other point. That's it. Those little numbers are just labels. It's telling you it's the first x value and the first y value, and the second x value and the second y value. You're not actually doing anything mathematically with those little numbers. The second formula you need to know is the slope-intercept form of a line. This you are also expected to memorize. I will not give it to you. And this is easy. It's just y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So once it's in this form, all you have to do is look at it, and the number in front of the x is your slope. Be careful if it's positive or negative, and the other number is your y-intercept, also being careful if it's positive or negative. But you have to have it in this form where the y is by itself and it says y equals. So this is also known as the equation of a line. So if you see those words written down, the equation of a line or the slope-intercept form of a line, this is what they're talking about. And then the very last one I want you to know is that slope equals rise over run. When you're given a graph and you have to figure out the slope, you just have to pick 2 points and then count. Count the rise, count the run, and then put it in the correct form into this fraction right here, and you have your slope. And simplify. Don't forget to simplify your fractions. You can also use this when you're graphing your lines, because you start at the y-intercept, and then you use your rise over run to find more coordinates on the line. Okay, so let's take a look at the homework really quickly. So this is exactly what your quiz is going to look like tomorrow. So hopefully you already tried this homework and you're watching this video just as a supplement to it, just to hear me talk through it, or if you had a question on one of them. Let's look at number 1. Look at this linear equation. Linear, the first 4 letters of the word linear are line. A linear equation is an equation of a straight line. What is the slope of the line above? What is the y-intercept? So remember, the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. This is already in that form. So I can easily see that my slope is 4 over 7, and my y-intercept is 9. Number 2, same kind of question, same equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. Slope is 7 over 8, the number in front of the x. My y-intercept, minus 10, negative 10. So you have to make sure if it's a minus sign, then that makes it a negative 10. Number 3, hopefully the marker still works, I think it will. Number 3, 4x plus 8y equals 16. Now we come into a problem. This is not in y equals mx plus b form. So before we can do anything, we need to put this into y equals mx plus b form. So let's take a look. We have 4x plus 8y equals 16. We are trying to get the y by itself. So here is my term that has a y in it. So that's what I'm trying to get by itself. So there's something else on the same side of the equation as it. There's a 4x. So I need to get rid of that 4x. I need to take the 4x and I need to move it to the other side of the equation. How do I do that? By using my inverse operations. This is a positive 4x. I can move it by doing minus 4x from each side of the equation. So now I have 8y equals 16 minus 4x. The y is still not by itself, so now I just have to divide by 8, divide by 8, divide by 8, and I'm going to write it over here to the left, and I end up with y equals 2 minus 4 over 8x, but I can reduce 4 over 8. I can reduce that to 1 over 2x. So now I can see that my slope is negative 1 over 2, and my y-intercept is a positive 2. Which brings me to a question that you haven't seen before, but it's something that you're able to do. All they're giving you is a table of values. They're giving you x values, and they're giving you y values. So they're giving you coordinates. So 0, 2 is one of your coordinates. 3, 8 is another coordinate. 6, 14, 10, 22. Those are all going to be your coordinates. So we can use those when we're trying to figure out the linear function below. It wants to know the linear function, or a linear equation. So y equals mx plus b. So I need an m, and I need a b. Let's figure out the slope. So we're not given a line, so we can't really count. We can't do rise over run. But we are given a bunch of coordinates, and we know a formula we can use. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. How many coordinates do we need to use this formula? Just 2, but they gave us 4. So you don't need to use all 4, you only need to use 2 of them. I like to pick the 2 that are easiest to work with. I'm going to pick the first 2 because they're the smallest numbers, and one of them is a 0, and that'll make my life easier. And now I'm just plugging into the formula. y2 minus y1, 8 minus 2, over x2 minus x1, 3 minus 0, equals 8 minus 2 is 6, 3 minus 0 is 3, 6 over 3, so m equals 2. So there's my slope, but I'm not done yet. Now I need a y-intercept. What do I know about a y-intercept? The y-intercept is the point where a line crosses the y-axis. So if I'm thinking about a y-axis, what is the x value always going to be on the y-axis? It's always going to be 0. So remember, whenever we write my y-intercept as a coordinate, it's going to be 0, comma, and then whatever it is. I'll use the lowercase b here. So it's always, the x value will always be 0, and then the y-intercept will be the y-coordinate. So if I look on this chart, where do I see my x equals 0? It's my first number. So my y-intercept is b equals 2, right over here, because the x is 0. So that means this line crosses the y-axis at 2. Now I just need to write this in the form of an equation. Y equals 2x plus 2, and I'm done. All right, let's take a look at number 4, the other number 4. I don't know why there are 2 number 4s, but there are, and we're just going to deal with it. And it's really not that big of a concern, so we're going to go with the second number 4. Find the slope of the line that passes through the points 1, 2, and 3, 7. Slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Fill in my numbers. 7 minus 2 over 3 minus 1. 5 over 2. That's a 2. You gotta take my word for it. That is definitely supposed to be a 2. It looks like a hybrid between a 2 and a 3, but it's 2. So we have 5 over 2. Can I reduce that? Well, 5 over 2 is 1.5, or it's 1 and 1/2. I like it as an improper fraction, because when we're graphing, that will help us. So 5 over 2 is my answer. Number 5, again, find the slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Write down the formula every time. You have to memorize that formula. -2 minus -3. So this is where you have to be careful. It's a -2. The formula tells us to do minus, and then it's a -3. So you have to make sure all of those signs are still in your formula. -2 minus -3, and then on the bottom, 4 minus 2. -2 minus -3 is the same thing as -2 plus 3, which is a positive 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. We get 1/2. No way that can be reduced. And that is our slope. All right, let's take a look at number 6. screen. There we go. Alright, number 6. Find the slope of the line in the graph below. This one's really nice. They gave us 2 points. They gave us this point over here, this point over here. So I just have to remember that slope equals rise over run. I start at the point on the left, and I count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm level with the other one, so I went up 5. I would write that down right away. And I go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right, 5. So I went up 5 and then to the right 5. That's how I got from this left point to this right point. So my rise was up 5, which is positive 5. My run was to the right 5, which is also a positive 5. I can simplify this to 1. The slope is just 1. Alright? And now the last problem, number 7. Similar to number 4, the first number 4. So the table shows some values of a linear equation. What is the slope of the line that contains the points in the table? So all they want to know this time is the slope. Remember, we're given a bunch of coordinates. That means we have to use the formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Fill in some values. You can pick any 2 points. I'll show you that you can pick any 2 points. So let's pick the last 2 instead this time. So we'll do 22 minus negative 5 over 2 minus negative 1. 22 minus negative 5 is 27. 2 minus negative 1 is 3. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So same thing, if we would have chose these 2 instead, it would have been 13 minus 4 over 1 minus 0, which is 9 over 1, which is just 9. So it doesn't matter which point you pick, the slope will always reduce to the same answer. The one thing you have to be careful of, if I pick 22 as my y2 value, then 2 has to be my x2. It has to correspond. So since these are the same coordinate, they have to both be in the same spot in the formula. That's all you'll need to know for tomorrow's quiz. Graphing is something you'll need to know for next week's quiz, which I'm sure we'll have, because I like to give about 4 quizzes a week, as you guys can probably tell. Come in with questions, because if you have a single period tomorrow, we are going straight into the quiz. So make sure you come in with questions prepared. Good luck.